Hello, friends. Today we're going to talk a bit about easy running. It's the beginning of week 2, so I thought it would be good for us to get into just talking about kind of the specific runs, or specific type of runs that we have in the schedule. And easy running is going to make up the majority of what we are going to do over the course of the next 20-ish weeks. And also we had one of the runners ask a question, which is, how do I adjust easy days in the schedule? This is when we make adjustments within the training program, which is totally fine. The easy days are usually the ones that we lose first, the ones that we move around, and because there's kind of reasons for that, but question, I think a lot of people end up thinking like, okay, how important are these easy runs? They're the ones that we get rid of first, so do I need to do all of them? Is it better to, why don't I just miss a workout instead? Things like that. So before I get into all these questions, I just want to explain a bit about this triangle, because this is how I contextualize training, really any athlete, but specifically endurance athletes, inside my head when I work with them and when we build programs tailored to people. This is what I think of, and really this will give you context as to why to run easy, what type of easy run to do, what your goal should be, and then and also that can relate to workouts, long runs, things like that as well. But okay, so the bottom of this pyramid is I've always called it tissue tolerance, but really you can think of this as your general musculoskeletal health. So your muscles, ligament, tendon, bone, all this stuff that makes up your body's ability to move. At the end of the day, where you're running, you're just doing a series of jumps, and doesn't matter how aerobically fit you are. You could be ready to run a 13-minute 5K, but if you tear your ACL, you're not going to even run a 20-minute 5K, so it doesn't matter. So tissue tolerance really is this underlying thing. A good thing to know is, let's say you want to target a workout to target tissue tolerance. So this could be often when we're coming back from a layoff. Let's say you've had 3-6 months off. We'll do a lot of like really short efforts to target tissue tolerance. Or if you're coming back from an injury, we often start very, very low and we gradually build up. It's because you don't need a lot of time in order to stimulate specifically kind of like the connective tissues. I'd say like tendon, ligament, bone. We only need 6 to 10, 12 minutes to get the majority of the stimulus you're going to get in a session. Once you go beyond that 10, 12 minutes, especially of running, that kind of anything that involves impact or a lot of what we'd call eccentric loading, which there is a lot of in running. Once you go past that 10, 12 minutes, we're not really getting the same bang for our buck anymore. So that's just an important thing to realize. And also this can give context to what type of easy run do you want to do. If you're coming back from an injury, or if you feel an injury coming on and you're like, hey, I don't have enough time to do an easy run, or I'm thinking or I'm feeling really sore, what should I do with my easy run? Maybe only go out for 5 to 10 minutes. That can still be really advantageous if our goal is to contribute to this tissue tolerance. But that depends if that's your goal or not. It's not going to contribute a ton to this area above, which is general fitness. It will contribute a little bit, but not very much, right? So now that I know a lot of runners who are like, well, if I can't get out for at least 5K, I'm not going to go for the run at all. Well, it really depends what your goal is, right? So the middle of this triangle is that's where we really focus on when we make training plans. This is building fitness, and then there's lots of different ways to break this down, but it's like really what we're thinking about is aerobic factors that will contribute generally to your endurance, and what we call anaerobic factors that will contribute generally to your power. So that's can encapsulate pretty much everything athletically. There's also kind of coordination and skill aspects in that. Maybe for more so for other sports aside from just marathoning. Marathoning is a relatively low skill activity. It's highly dependent on this aerobic factors. There's definitely some skill, but it's not you don't have to juggle while you're doing it. So, but fitness makes up the majority. That's why I have offset it so it's bigger. And then on top of that is psychological, and this is really about like more performance specific. So if we're running just for kind of general health, if we're not really going, if we're not really having performance oriented goals, we want to do the race for fun, to spend time with our friends, like the psychological skills of that are going to become less important, or maybe just be replaced by how much fun you're having. And these two you can also target in an easy run. Generally, easy runs that are slightly faster but still within our pace. They can be also slightly longer. They'll contribute more to this fitness. Again, the harder you work and the longer you work, the fitter you're going to get. But we want to stay within an easy pace because we can get, and this will answer kind of our first question here, why run easy? Because if we run easy, we can get the majority of the adaptations we want from running without the fatigue and with a lower risk of injury. So we're not going to risk this underlying tissue tolerance because we want to start to build on top of that. So if we run easy, we can build up a bulk of work, still get a good amount of the changes we want to see, but with lower risk of injury. That's the goal. And let's say we want to run for a psychological reason. I know a lot of people run for mental health, often, especially in that, like in the dark, intense days of marathon training when we're feeling really, really beat down. The ability to go out for a run, like without your watch, and go out and not care about pace, and go out with friends and take a break, every 5 minutes to like literally smell the flowers or something. That can be really good, and that can contribute to your overall training, because it might give you, a little bit more zhuzh for your future workouts, right? So that can be targeted within an easy run as well. So just review kind of types of easy runs. I'd say that kind of like 5 to 10 minutes for tissue tolerance, really, really good. That can be specifically really easy running because it's really just the act of like actually running, that bouncing and jumping, that will give you most of that stimulus, and we don't need a ton of it. General fitness, I would say for me, I normally suggest people get about, if we're targeting fitness, 15 minutes is a good kind of minimum. You will get some stimulus from less, but it really depends how fit you are. If the fitter you get, kind of the harder it is for you to get a easy stimulus from like a 5-minute effort. If you're brand new to running for 5 minutes will give you enough stimulus. So, and then psychological is again just working on your ability to stay relaxed, your ability to have control over your pace, maybe to even turn your brain off. It really depends on where we're at in the training, but different types of runs. So, and it really depends on what your goal is for the run. So, if we're coming off of, actually here, maybe I'll go here. So this is an easy run I just literally did today. I would say this is more of this fitness style easy run for me. So I'm in this endurance zone. I spent the majority of the time there. I had a little downhill, so for 41 seconds I went into my tempo zone. But if you look at my heart rate, it's relatively the same. I spend most of my time in kind of zone 1, zone 2. This for me is building that aerobic base. Works well. This is a run I went on yesterday. I ran significantly slower. I ran for longer, but the entire time I'm in this active recovery zone because I was running with my beautiful girlfriend, and we were just out having a nice day. My heart rate also very low the whole time. So this is active recovery for me. Now, did this build a ton of aerobic fitness? No, but today when I went for this other run, I felt really good. So so that can give you kind of some context as to how to, no, that's not what we want. So how do you adjust easy days in your schedule? This is really what we're trying to get to. So if we're trying to get tissue tolerance, I would say and you have an easy day and you've recently been injured or you're feeling an injury coming on, getting out for that 5 to 10 minutes, I would say, is probably the best choice to make. And then just call it there. Don't worry about getting anything else on top of that. If we're getting out for fitness and let's say you have to miss a day, really what we're trying to do is just make up that time or distance at the same relative effort. So you can very easily either move that distance and break it up into a couple small chunks and add it to either the warm up and cool down for your workouts, or add it as a chunk at the end or beginning of your easy or of your long run, or on another day, or you can just shift it to a day that where you would have had rest. But really, so long as you're getting in that base 15 minutes, we're still accomplishing some, or I would say probably like a good amount of that aerobic stimulus that we're looking for. But depends where you are in training and where like how much time and everything you have. Most people would probably get more from doing, say, 2 hour long easy runs, as opposed to how would I explain this? Getting a single 15-minute run in will have a much lower effect. So if you're really trying to push performance, you might get more from adding that 15 minutes onto a longer effort as part of warm up or cool down, just because of the aerobic state that you'll be in. Okay, hopefully I didn't get too rambly at the end there, but that's essentially easy running. And yes, let me know if you have any more questions. Okay, bye, friends.